Hello everybody, Mark, aka The Nerdy Punk, back again today for a new video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you enjoyed your holiday season as we are now into 2025. That seems crazy, but it's the first video of the new year. I'm at the movie theater today, getting ready to go in and check out A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biopic from James Mangold, director, and stars Timothée Chalamet, of course, as Bob Dylan. This one was released on December 25th here in the United States. Did not see it when it came out because I was kind of busy with Nosferatu and Baby Girl. I did the double feature of that. If you want my thoughts on those films, go hit up the channel for those reviews. So I've been excited for this movie. I wasn't quite as excited as I was for Baby Girl and Nosferatu, which is why I prioritized those. But I'm a pretty huge Bob Dylan fan, and I would say probably since maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when I really kind of did a deep dive on Dylan music, really got into his stuff, and I just love his music. He is, without a doubt, one of, if not the greatest songwriter of all time. So I've always been intrigued by anything Bob Dylan, especially a movie about Bob Dylan. However, biopics, not usually my cup of tea. Occasionally there'll be one that I really like, and I'm hoping that this will be it. There have been some in the past that I've really enjoyed, but for the most part, biopics usually feel kind of Wikipedia-esque, and they just kind of, to me, really struggle to both depict the life of the artist well, while at the same time making an interesting, creative, unique film. And this one obviously has me intrigued because it's one of my favorite artists of all time. But James Mangold, behind the camera, he also directed one of the biopics I enjoyed quite a bit, and that is Walk the Line, which is the Johnny Cash biopic, came out, I think, 20 years ago now. That's insane. Pretty sure that was a 2005 movie. But anyway, that was, of course, the one starring Joaquin Phoenix, and I really enjoyed that biopic. So I have pretty high hopes. I've heard really good things about it. Timothée Chalamet in particular, who is one of my favorite actors currently working. So if anybody can do Dylan, I think Chalamet can do it. And what I've heard from the trailers and the clips that I've seen of the movie, he seems to be pulling off the aesthetic, the vibe, the voice. He seems to be pulling off all of it. Now, what I will say is there's been some things that have been kind of overblown, I feel like, about Timothée Chalamet's performance. I heard part of the team that worked on this felt like they couldn't distinguish Chalamet's performance vocally from Dylan in real life, and I thought that was just a little bit ridiculous. Like, I think if you've listened to Bob Dylan at all, and I've listened to a couple of the songs that they put out from Chalamet from the soundtrack, they're different. Timothée Chalamet is not as good as Bob Dylan, and that's fine. Nobody will be as good as Bob Dylan. But I think for, the fact that he's doing his own singing, which I think is impressive, I think he sounds pretty good. So I'm excited to see it in the film and in the context of the film. So I'm going in with relatively high expectations, even though it is a biopic, and we'll see what I think. So I'm going to head into the theater. See you guys in a couple hours for me. Couple seconds for you guys, and I'll give you my thoughts on A Complete Unknown.
A few moments later.
All right, fresh out of the theater from A Complete Unknown. I gotta say, I enjoyed the film, but there are definitely some aspects of it I didn't enjoy quite as much. So I was kind of talking about beforehand, the things that I don't like about biopics, especially music biopics, are kind of where it feels like a Wikipedia article, at least the script anyway, and some moments that tend to feel like glorified music videos. And the first half of this was definitely guilty of that, I think. It really didn't explore all that much. It didn't really go deep into Dylan's psyche at all. And I get, the person that he is. He's notoriously very reserved, very mysterious, doesn't like talking about himself and his history, and in fact, they reference that in the film. But I just wish there was a little bit more there to chew on in that first act. But the second act does come through, I feel like, in that department. Once he becomes famous, I feel like there's a lot to play with for Chalamet here. And I thought he did a phenomenal job. Timothée Chalamet, I mean, he's an incredibly talented actor. He's one of my favorites, like I said at the beginning of the video. And this may be his best performance. Like, if you know much about the background of this movie, it took about 5 years to make. There were several delays. Timothée Chalamet even joked that he filmed 2 Dune movies in between starting the process and finishing the process of A Complete Unknown. So he had 5 years to sit with this character, to listen to Dylan, to watch Dylan in interviews, and really nail the voice. First of all, it doesn't feel like a cheap impersonation. It feels authentic, and he really did nail his speaking voice as well as his singing voice. Like, I did mention at the beginning how I was kind of put off by the fact that some of the team said that they couldn't really tell the difference between Dylan and Chalamet in the music. So obviously Chalamet sings all of his own songs for the role, but you can tell the difference. But I think nobody can capture Dylan in that way. I think Chalamet came as close as is humanly possible. Like, it is incredible. I'm excited to dive into the soundtrack a little bit and see if it translates into the video or into the music format, because it really hit on the screen. I could tell the difference. It was as close as you could possibly get, though, and I was very excited about that. Timothée Chalamet is absolutely deserving of an Oscar nomination for this. Edward Norton, I was surprised with a really good performance from him, as well as some of the other characters in the film. I'm forgetting some of these actors and actresses' names, but I thought the actress who portrayed Joan Baez did a really good job. The actress who portrayed Bob Dylan's first girlfriend, I think Sylvia is her name. I don't know her full name, but she was really good as well. So the performances, I think, which are the most important part of a movie like this, were phenomenal. And I'm interested to see some other Bob Dylan adaptations in movies. So, for instance, I'm planning tonight on watching, I believe it's called I'm Not There, which is Todd Haynes' Bob Dylan movie, and I'm interested to see that and kind of compare and contrast, because I believe Todd Haynes took it in a more creative, artsy direction. So we'll see. Maybe I'll give you my thoughts on that in my Letterboxd recap if I can get back to those. But I thought, for the most part, I really enjoyed this film. And it does have some issues, for sure. There were parts of it, like I said, that felt very Wikipedia-esque. Couldn't escape those biopic tropes. But then there were parts of this that I really, really enjoyed. And it really has a rock and roll energy by the end of the film that I really appreciated. So I'm going to kind of wrap up my thoughts here. I'm going to give A Complete Unknown a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So if you guys have seen the film, let me know your thoughts down below, and stay tuned for some stuff on the channel. I do plan on doing my most anticipated movies at some point in the next week, so we can look forward to some 2025 movies. Have a great day, guys. See you later.